June 6, 1944, D-Day. Among the roaring waves and distant gunfire, a young American soldier sat quietly, pen in hand, writing a letter he feared might be his last. Private James Miller, 24, from Ohio, had been married just 6 months before being shipped overseas. His wife, Anna, was the light of his life. The fateful letter. The beach is now silent, long after the battle has ended. The waves no longer carry the cries of war, only the whispers of the wind, brushing over the sand and the soft rustling of a distant flag. Beneath the shadow of a weathered white cross lies a letter, yellowed and worn, yet alive, heavy with the soul of its writer. The letter was written by Private James Miller, 24 years old, from Ohio. A small-town boy with simple dreams, peaceful Sunday afternoons, golden sunsets with his wife Anna by his side. They had been married for just 6 months, and the ink on their marriage license was barely dry when the war came knocking. James was always a man of gentle gestures. He sent her pressed flowers from training camp, pages of diary entries and hurried poems scribbled on napkins. In his eyes, he was not a hero, just a man trying to keep a promise, to come home. But on the eve of D-Day, as darkness settled over the English coast, James felt the full weight of what lay ahead. Under the flickering light of an oil lamp, surrounded by sleeping soldiers and the distant hum of warships preparing to land, James wrote a letter from the deepest part of his courage. It wasn't long. Just 1 page, but every word was heavy, each sentence a thread binding his heart to hers. My dearest Anna, if you're reading this, then I didn't make it back. But please know, every last breath I took was thinking of you. Everything I am, every hope I hold, lives in you. You are home, the morning coffee, the porch light glowing in the dusk. If I fall, please don't remember me as a soldier. Remember me as your James, the one who always saw you even when you weren't looking. If we didn't get the chance to have children, tell our dream children that their father loved with everything he had. And if I'm lucky, maybe I'll find you again in another life. Forever yours, James. He folded the letter carefully and tucked it into the pocket over his heart. Hours later, James stormed the beach with his unit. The sea turned red. The air was shredded with bullets and screams. He didn't make it past the sandbanks. His body was found among the fallen, his hand still gripping his rifle. The letter, soaked in seawater and blood, remained intact. The man who found the letter was Sergeant Thomas Blake, James's closest friend. They had trained together, endured the mud and terror of trenches, and shared both laughter and fear. When Thomas found the letter, he couldn't bring himself to send it. Somehow it felt like betrayal. How could he bring that kind of pain to Anna? How could he look her in the eye and say James didn't make it? So he kept it. Years passed. Thomas married, had grandchildren, and built a life. But the letter never left his side. It rested in a wooden box in his drawer, a weight, a secret. Every D-Day, he would open the box, read the letter, and cry. Not just for James, but for himself, for lacking the courage. Anna lived in silence. She never remarried. She stayed in the house they dreamed of raising children in. The porch sat quiet, the swing untouched. She kept his photo in the hallway and lit a candle. Every June 6th, friends called it loyalty. Others called it denial. But to Anna, love had frozen in 1944. 50 years later, in 1994, a historian collecting untold D-Day stories met Thomas. By then his hair was white, his back bent, and Thomas finally unburdened himself. With trembling hands, he handed over the letter to the historian, who delivered it to Anna. She opened it on the porch alone. The ink had faded, but the message was clear. Her fingers traced each familiar letter, her lips trembled, and as she read the final line, a strange peace settled over her. After 50 years, he had come home. Today, the letter rests in a glass frame at a small war museum near Normandy, next to a wedding photo of James and Anna. Visitors stop, read, and often cry, not just for the loss, but for the love. Because in a chaotic world, sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't a rifle, but a letter. James's words remind us, behind every casualty count is a heart. Behind every white cross on foreign soil lies an unfinished story. A kiss never given, a life just beginning. His sacrifice, like so many others, was not only for freedom, it was for love. And love, somehow, always finds its way home. The war and sacrifice. June 6, 1944, Normandy, France. A day remembered as a symbol of courage and sacrifice. Amid the artillery barrage on Omaha Beach, thousands of young American soldiers charged forward for a noble cause, freedom. Among them was James Miller. a 24-year-old from Ohio, who carried not only his rifle but also his heart, his love, and a promise. War is not just a confrontation between two sides. It is a test of loyalty, humanity, and hope. Every bullet fired, every life lost is a broken world. For James, it was the world of quiet afternoons with Anna, dreams of a small house and children running in the yard. But when the call to action sounded, he didn't hesitate. He ran into the flames, not out of hatred for the enemy, but out of love for what lay behind him: family, friends, and a future that was yet to be. Sacrifice is not just about the blood spilled or lives lost. It is the silent cost, the pain no one sees, the memories that forever haunt the living. Sergeant Thomas Blake lived the rest of his life with the ghosts of war. Not from the battles fought, but from an unsent letter. A seemingly small action, yet for him it was a burden he could never shake off. In war, not everyone is meant to be a hero. Not everyone gets to sing songs of victory. But every person who fought, who loved, who sacrificed deserves to be remembered. James never came back. But his love, his promise, through the final letter and Thomas's late act, transcended death. It proves one thing: no matter how brutal war may be, humanity can retain its most beautiful qualities: love, loyalty, and sacrifice. And it is these things that constitute the greatest victory of all. His closest friend, Corporal Thomas Blake, found the letter and kept it. For decades, guilt and trauma kept him from sending it. 50 years later, an old man appeared at Anna's doorstep, trembling, with a yellowed envelope in his hand. "This should have been yours a long time ago." As Anna read the letter, her hands shook. It was like hearing his voice one last time. The war had taken him, but his words had found their way back. Some letters are written with hope, others with love, and some, like James's, carry both, across oceans, across time.